Hi guys, Paul here, and this is going to be a quick rundown on the F303 flight controller. This is the X Racer from FPVModel.com. Now we've got one of these flight controllers in Thomas ZMR, which you raced at the last race meet. This is the MMRC race meet, and that went quite well. It tuned quite well. There was no real issues. It's essentially an F3 flight controller, and basically all that means is it has a faster processor in there, which means better loop times, and you can do a lot more with the processor itself. Essentially it's geared around people wanting to race, and hence why it's called the X Racer. Now it's worth mentioning that this board was actually designed by FPVModel, so it's their own design, and they've done away with all the fancy connectors on some of the flight controllers, and you can use straight out pin headers, which is something that's going to be appealing to most people. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility in the way you can actually wire up your board, whether you want to use pin headers or solder directly onto the pads. Now this board also features flash memory on board for black box, and it's probably one of the cheapest F3 boards on the market at the moment. So as far as what comes in the package when you actually purchase this, you've obviously got your flight controller, you've also got your servo cables. Now, I know a number of flight controllers actually come with these servo cables. I've never actually used these. I'm not sure exactly how they're intended to be used. Also comes with the straight pin headers. This might be suitable for some designs, some quads. Probably one of the changes I would make is actually drop those and go to right angle pin headers, which is going to simplify things heaps. Now, as far as the board layout goes, what you're looking at there is UART3, which is SBus. This is the one most people are going to be using, especially if you're running an F3 board, and then followed by all your channels all the way through from channel 8 through to channel 1 towards the end. And to the right we have UART2 on the bottom there. You've got your ground, your 5 volts, your TX and your RX, and directly above it you've got the same thing again, but it's UART1. And on top of the board is where you're going to be connecting your ESCs. All the way from ESC number 1 through to ESC 4, 5 or 6, depending on what sort of multi-road it is that you're running. Most people are going to be running quads, so it'll be the first 4 that you'll use. And to the left you have your USB input, your micro USB port, and directly below it what you have is your micro boot loader button. Now this is a great feature. I love the fact that they've got a simple button there. You're not fiddling around using paper clips, etc., trying to short out 2 pads. So a really great feature. Followed by your DSM port. Now I think in the next revision of this they're planning on dropping this and hopefully moving to Vbat, because that's probably one of the downsides with this board. It doesn't actually have Vbat on board. Having said that, it's not going to be a big deal for a lot of people, but it's a feature that a fair number of the community actually do still use. It's something they're going to implement in the next revision, I would assume. And underneath the board, we have our buzzer input. So if you do want to connect a buzzer to your flight controller, and directly on top, you can see that integrated circuit, and that is basically your onboard flash memory for black box. As far as the type of pin headers that we use the right angle type. This is the sort of configuration that we run. That is obviously for your ESCs. So we solder those in there. And directly below for your SBus, we're also running a cut down right angle connector. So we can just lay the servo cable flat on the board. This allows us to keep the profile as low as possible without soldering on the board itself. So this is the way we would connect the SBus receiver to the board, and obviously your ESCs would plug in up top like so. Allows for a nice low profile. So anyway, that was just a quick rundown on the F303 flight controller. This is the X Racer from FPVModel. I'll have a link in the description. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.